Hey ladies, it's your girl Truly Inspired Martin, the Reset Coach. And if you're truly ready to go from BS to success, welcome to a new season of the Recrown You podcast. Everybody wants to be, but nobody wants to do. Girl, it's time to be real, raw, and relentless. Everybody wants to be, but nobody wants to do. You know it's time.
Recrown you.
What's up, guys? It's your girl, Truly Inspired Martin, and welcome to another episode of the Recrown You podcast, ladies. That's right. We are ready for the women who are ready to be bold and unapologetically who they want to be by unleashing their inner badass in all areas of their lives. That's right, ladies. It's another episode with your girl, Truly Inspired Martin. I am your women's personal development coach. I teach women how to go from BS to success by increasing your emotional intelligence and becoming more self-aware. I'm also your favorite Truly HR consultant. Okay. So if you guys are looking for HR consulting on any level, from recruiting to retention strategies and really just getting some HR implemented in your small business, fun fact, I do that. So just head on over to trulyhrconsulting.com or just hit me up on Instagram, trulyhrconsulting, and me or somebody on my team will get back to you as soon as possible. So I'm excited about this season, man. It's been a lot of real good heat, hot heat coming down the pipeline. Some amazing people sharing not only their personal stories with you, but stories that will help you to push your success forward. And that's what we're about here, right? It's good to be able to get all this information, but make sure that you are taking the information and implementing it, right? Because information without implementation is just some bullshit. Let's keep it 100, right? So we're not going to bullshit for 21. We're going to do what we need to do in order to be the best versions of ourselves. And that is why I believe in the true power of a woman, because when she knows what she knows, that posture changes. And that is why I'm excited about today's episode as well, because today's episode is called Cooking Through Chaos. And I love the spin on everything, because we got a chef in the building today. Okay. So you might want to go grab your skillet, grab your air fryer, grab you some oil or something. I don't know. I don't even know what relevance this has right now. But if you cooking in the kitchen right now, listening to this episode is definitely going to set the heat up on 100. Okay. So I want to introduce to you guys today, Ciara Turner Kelly. She is not only a mom, she is a chef, a wife, and the owner of Ciara CanCook. Homegirl be throwing down these recipes on Instagram. You hear me? So if y'all need to go follow Ciara CanCook on Instagram, because homegirl got the air fryer recipes, and you be like, you know what? I don't know what I was going to cook today, but I mean, she just set it all up for me. So let me go, do me a little, go pull up outside the grocery store, get a little pickup, because I don't really be liking to go inside no more, right? Do a little grocery pickup or have somebody bring the food, Instacart that thing to your house. Boom, got my ingredients. Go to her Instagram. Boom, got the whole breakdown. Like how can you lose when it comes to food, right? And she's teaching people how to season their food correctly, so we don't be out here bland and looking sad during quarantine trying to eat, and then you looking like, oh my God, why does my food taste like this? Like, this is not right. Look, I'm having a whole moment right here, y'all, because sometimes I just want it to taste the way that the chef does it, and now she's bringing that to your house. So super excited to see where this episode is going today, because we're definitely talking about cooking through chaos. So I'm pretty sure this is going to take a real nice personal development swing. So without further ado, I don't want to hold her from you. Ciara, baby girl, are you with me?
I am with you. Hey, Dana.
Hey girl, hey.
What's up?
Hey, I'm excited about having you today, because I know this is going to be real cute, because not only are you a close friend of mine, you are an amazing woman. You're an amazing chef. You're an amazing mother. You do a lot of stuff. You're the person I call when I don't know how to troubleshoot something okay? So we already know that you got some stuff to say, and I'm so excited for people to hear it. So let's get into it. tell us a little something about Ciara that nobody knows. Like, what's a fun fact?
Girl, you had me cracking up with this whole introduction. So I know this fun fact is about to have you laughing, even on mute. But fun fact, my best recipes come from when I'm like cooking or writing in my muumuu, in my nightgown. Like the best recipes come from the nightgown tabernacle congregation.
She called it the nighttime tabernacle. Lord, helping Jesus. I could definitely see you probably laid up with a little glass of wine, just laid up with you in your bonnet, got your little robe on. So once upon a time there was chicken, and
Like, when I tell you, the bonnet over the stove, like, oh no, let me write that down. I cooked that for 4 more minutes. Like, yeah, okay, this about to be fire. This some heat. Like, what was that nightgown? Put some more garlic on it. Yeah, do that.
I am so here for it. Listen, everybody got their little thing that they do to get those creative juices flowing. So I am here for it. So let's go ahead and get into it, right? So today's episode is called Cooking Through Chaos. So that got my brain just like do. Okay, so I know she's a chef and we're cooking, right? So I know there's food involved. All right, now I'm hungry. Great. So now we're talking about through chaos. So that tells me there's a story there, right? So let's kind of get into a little bit about Ciara. Like, who are you? Like, what is your story? What is the chaotic parts, and how do you use that to really like cook up some heat in your life?
I think the common denominator to the story is the struggles with mental health throughout my childhood and into adulthood, and all the roadblocks that I had to try to navigate around with limited tools. But the constant in my life was cooking and talking about food and reading about food and learning about food. I think that was a comforting constant that I could always kind of fall back on. That was like my safety net. That was my um that was like the waiting in the wind for me. So that's what it kind of means to me, cooking through the chaos.
Oh, okay. So we touched a little bit on the trauma and stuff, right? So, we pride ourselves here on being real raw, real open, to hopefully be able to free some other people. And sometimes the guests get freed themselves, not realizing that they really just needed to say that thing, get that thing out of there, get that thing off of them, right? So what is one of those if you don't mind sharing, what is one of those traumatic things that you went through, either in childhood or in adulthood, something that a woman can relate to?
I think one of the earliest memories that I can still actually remember, because sidebar, I have had a stroke from childbirth and the hustle culture. So my memory has been shot to all belief. But the earliest memory I can remember is me at like 13, 12 or 13, wanting, attempting to hang myself in my bedroom. And the response, I don't remember everything that was said, but the thing that stuck with me the most was, why would you do this while your brother's in the house?
Mm.
And like, I'll never forget that. And it just stuck with me, like, is my issue that small, or is that the only focus instead of the root problem? So that kind of, triggers a lot of, self-worth problems that have shown up in my life.
Oh, okay. That's heavy right there, right? And I think we gotta have that conversation. So when we're referring to being younger and why would you do this when your brother's in the house? That's obviously one of those what do what happens in this house stays in this house type of situations, or it's more so protecting the overall image versus getting to the root foundation of the issue, right? So when we're talking about that in that context, like what did you ever deal with that? Like, what did that transpire into other areas of your life? Like, did that correlate to how you started eating or cooking, or how you viewed yourself with relationships or what have you?
So definitely, the the incident never, in my mind, never got resolved because I, as you could guess, shut down. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to explain myself. I didn't want to hear any opinions about it because that was like the immediate response from it was like, what? It took me by surprise. So, in not dealing with that, in my later years in schooling and dealing with friends, it was like I became a people pleaser. And I overly wanted to make people happy and always check and say, "Are you happy?" or this or that. And or or the extreme of I don't really care. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care about your feelings because nobody cares about my feelings. So it was very extreme until I became old enough to seek help on my own and therapy on my own that it I was either a people pleaser or I was like a don't give a care attitude type of person, which is like no extremes aren't good for you, especially going through childhood, adolescence, teenage years and stuff like that because you're not really living the life that you should be living. You're living on the outskirts. You're outside looking at other people have healthy relationships and you're either mad about it, you're sad about it, or you're feeling empty because you're always giving everything to everyone else and not getting anything in return because you don't require it.
Ooh, and that's heavy, right? Like, so do you feel like you what was your outlet for that, do you think? Like, what was that outlet that might have helped to guide or transition the way that you move from that, right? Because like, you have to get therapy, you have to talk through those things, you have to try to find some way to communicate with that person that you feel might have wronged you in that case, right? So it's almost looking at an overall picture, like, what do you think some of your suppressive tactics were?
Um, this is this is funny because it still kind of shows up, but being overly open, overly sharing, like in some ways people think that's a good thing, but it's just like I'm going to beat you to the punch so you can't hold anything over me. Like you
Ooh.
don't have to share everything with everyone, but that is something that I realized in adulthood is like, why do I do this? It's because I don't want anybody to use anything against me because I'm always going to say it first.
Oh, wow. And some people, when they shut down, they go intro, right? Like, they say, "You know what? I'm never going to talk about anything again. I'm just going to shut all the way down." But you had kind of like an adverse effect where it was more so like, "I'm going to share everything that I have with everyone so that they know." It's like almost like a constant, for lack of a better word, like a constant cry for help. Like, you want people to know, you want people to understand, um, because you feel like people didn't listen to you when you were actually trying to ask for help.
Yeah, I call it the loudest person in the room syndrome. I always had to be the loudest person in the room or the most talkative. So they're not seeing that there is hurt or damage underneath. They had to see what I was putting out and offering, which was happy, bubbly, sharing stuff and everything else. So they wouldn't see anything else going on.
My. That's deep. Do you think that cooking or, getting into the culinary arts in any way of that form, like, was that any kind of outlet for you? Like, how did that transition happen, in your life?
So it definitely helped me because you know how some people use like working out or writing
Right, right.
to let their feelings out. It was more so like if I was over a hot griddle or a hot stove, it was like I could feel the pressure being released from my body. Like my first job, I started as like a dishwasher, and like nobody really likes washing dishes. But I remember when my manager gave me an opportunity to work the grill because I guess we were short staffed, and I just was like, oh, it felt like freedom. Like I liked cooking at home, and it's a different feeling cooking at home. But when I was like behind that griddle and the heat rushing up my face, it was just like turning a dial off of the Instapot, the pressure cooker, where it just releases all the steam and everything can cool down. And that's what it kind of felt like for me. It was just a way that I could release all the frustration and the anger and the hurt and things like that. And nobody would know, because one, it just looks like I'm sweating, and or I'm just a little moist around the forehead or around the face from all the heat being close to me. So it was definitely something that helped me release when I didn't necessarily have an outlet anywhere else.
Hmm. And that I love that you're alluding to that, right? So there's a chapter in my book in Recrown You that's called Suppression Causes Depression, right? And I want to kind of go there with you real quick, right? So we know that there's things that has happened surpassed childhood, right? Like in our adulthood as well. And like, do you feel like suppressing in the ways that you have, do you feel like that has led you to places of depression or, things that you feel sometimes are out of your control?
Oh, absolutely. And I tried the retreat method, the going inside method, and I think that made it worse. So it was not taking the steps to really deal with what was going on. And again, going back to those extremes, like I used to be the loudest person in the room, and then all of a sudden being nothing and in quietness, that is just leading me back into a cycle of you're just on the outside looking in. You're not participating. You're not participating in the life that you say you want to live or the life that you deserve.
Ooh, listen, that is absolutely the truth. Like, and it's hard trying to watch yourself. Like, I've literally felt like that outer body experience, like watching myself like fold or watching myself feel like, I'm just going into this place. And I think I heard this quote by Frederick Douglass before that if there is no struggle, there is no progress, right? If there is no struggle, there is no progress. So if you're someone that has had life super easy, like, do you really feel like when you get to that crossroad where, there is a struggle or something comes in the way of what you deem as your success, that you'll be able to truly progress? Because you don't know how to handle pressure. And one thing that I know is that once you are able to release some of that pressure, right? Even talking about like a pressure cooker, right? Once you're able to release the top just a little bit and let out some of that steam, let out some of that air, have the conversations, something changes when you're able to really start to be aware of self. Like, I'm not okay. Like, there's some stuff that was never taken care of. I wasn't healed from that. Like, I got to take some steps to recover from that. And you said something earlier that I definitely want to bring and shed some light on, simply because I don't feel like it's a conversation that's had enough. And as somebody like me that I ain't got no kids yet, right? I remember the situation that you went through with the stroke from childbirth and things of that nature. And I'm sure you'll give us the correct terminology for what you went through. I know it was like PPCM or something along those that line. But please, like, tell us, if you don't mind, like, just tell us a little bit about what that looked like for you. Like, what was that time period for you? And, how did you get through it? Like, why don't we talk about this more?
The fact that you remember the acronym tells me that I have been educating you guys correctly. Woo woo with that.
Yeah, that's a major win because it's ingrained in my brain. So,
So I have lived with something called PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, since I was about 19 officially. Before then, I had, experienced the symptoms, but I didn't know what it was called, and I didn't know how to say it to my doctor or whatever because I was a teenager. But officially diagnosed since I was 19, and that is a hormone imbalance, and it causes like weight gain, You can be hairy, which I started growing a beard, Anthony Hamilton struggle beard at
Not
around
the
20.
Anthony helped. Oh God.
Like it don't connect, but it's there. So I had to try to keep that under control since the age of like 20, 21. Struggles with insulin resistance, which meaning I've never been a sweets person, but that was the nail in the coffin, keeping my sugars low, carbs low, stuff like that. The irregular periods and, infertility. Now, I had my first child at 18. And of course, I had been hearing it all my life after I had her, you're lucky you had her early because, you'll probably never have another child again. I was hearing this from medical professionals. And it's like, okay, I had finally, probably around like 24, 23, 24, was like, okay, I have come to, you know, a place where I'm okay if I don't have any more children. It's all right. I will start telling people that I'm looking to date, hey, there's a strong possibility I'll never be able to naturally have children again. I'm willing to go the surrogacy route and other things like that because I had been told pretty much my whole adult life that, this is a deal breaker for you. And I'm like, okay, cool. All right. So I get married and, I had already told my husband, then boyfriend, hey, there's a possibility I probably won't be able to have children. Are you okay with that? And he was like, I've had my own struggles. There's a possibility that I can't make children. So, it's a win-win for us. I'm okay either way. Cool. Great. So I lose 40 pounds, going strictly, just low carb, not dieting, but just making changes in my life that I can live with. Cause one, I'm getting older, things are starting to creak, sound a little funny. You can't drop it low as fast anymore. So I had to, say, okay, I need to lose some weight, which I did. And then, probably after 9 or 10 months of regulating my own period with just eating good and being active and not going to the gym, I don't want to put that out there, but eating your diet is probably 80% of your weight loss. So I was doing simple stuff like walking or just like dancing in the house. I wasn't doing anything like gym weightlifting. Like had I done that, I probably would have been an extra baddie. But I was just doing simple activity to keep my body, going. So then I got hives and I was like, I need to go to the hospital. I've never had hives before. I don't think I've had any allergies outside of pollen since I was 12. I go to the hospital thinking I didn't get bit by a spider and they was like, oh, congratulations, you're pregnant. I'm like, what? And we're both like stunned, like, what you mean pregnant? And they were like, yeah, I'm just gonna bring my supervisor in. And I was just like, what's going on? Because she was a student and which I allowed. And I was like, okay, no problem, no problem. Girl, they got the little ultrasound thing and it was like, oh, it's a boy. And I'm like, huh?
Man.
I was like, say what? Say what? What? So that shook me, first of all, because I was knee deep in, just getting back on my grind, saving, homeschooling, supporting my husband's business. So I was some of everywhere. Okay. We had just moved to Las Vegas. I was grinding it out. I was so happy, and I was just like, why am I always sick, girl? I find out I'm pregnant and I'm just like, this can't be. But lo and behold, we are pregnant with our infertility issues and all, and it's a boy. And so here we are, pregnant. Now, the pregnancy had some steps to itself where there were some other things that I haven't come to terms with talking about just yet. But in the end, a healthy baby boy, LJ, was born. And during the day I decided to go to the hospital was the day I was like, he's not moving. He's not, his regular self. We used to call him baby T-Rex because he used to be in there turning up. Like he had the Atlanta spirit in him. He was A-Town stomping, Bankhead bouncing all day, every day. So he was baby T-Rex for a long time. And that day I was just like, no, it's not the same. He's not moving the way he should. I go to the hospital and they hooked me up on all the monitors and they was like, okay, we found the heartbeat. We're just monitoring him. And then all of a sudden they're like, his heartbeat dropped and it was a lot of confusion and commotion. And I was just like, look, I know this isn't my first rodeo, but I don't like what's going on here. This, that, and the third. My blood pressure shot through the roof because I was so scared and worried, especially after everything that I had gone through the pregnancy.
Right.
And right before the anesthesia kicked in, I think he asked me if I wanted my tubes tied, and I was like, "Where's my husband? I can't make a decision." I did manage to say, "I can't make a decision like this, and I'm not fully coherent." And the next thing I know, my eyes are closed, I'm asleep, and then I wake up, and I've got all these tubes and stuff on me, and I've already had a baby, and the baby's in the NICU, and they told me I had a stroke while hooked up to the monitor having a C-section. And my son now has cerebral palsy, um, suspectedly from the traumatic birth. So he had brain injury on his left side. And thankfully, he's a really happy baby. Yes, he has delays and things that he can do, but he learns every day. And so, that period he was in NICU for like 45 days, I think I cried like every day
I'm
because I was like, I
sure.
just want to hold my baby and this, that, and the third. And it was just like an eye opener that I needed to slow my life down because I definitely want to say, they say you gain more patience when you're older. That's why you should wait to have kids. Boy, that is a lie. That, that is a lie. My patience was so short, especially, you know, trying to wait for my child to be out of hospital, wait till, hear from therapists and doctors or different programs and stuff. I did not have any patience for it. Or, like purple crying. I didn't know what that was, but girl, I was reading so many books on so many websites and my impatience was just like mounting until I was like, look, I need to really relax. I need to have a moment to sit back and just breathe and think. And I think that was the pinnacle of the chaos for me. Especially, I had stopped cooking because I was making sure that I was making all the right moves and we were making all the right decisions regarding our son, especially preparing for him to come home and everything like that. It just all bubbled up to the surface to where I just cried and cried and cried. And when I finally talked to my doctor to, find a new therapist, it was just like, I just can't. I've never been this bad before. I've never felt like I had no hope or that I was helpless. I was always the person in charge. I was always the person who had the control. I was always the person who could figure it out in the ninth hour. And all of that was taken away. And now I'm just a sitting duck and it felt terrible. But I was able to get help and I was able to talk it through. And it's still a journey now because postpartum depression hit me really hard, considering everything I went through. And I was diagnosed with PPCM, which is peripartum cardiomyopathy, which is a type of heart failure where my left ventricle in my heart was damaged. And there isn't like a ton of information on it, and they consider it rare. But some of the leading experts have linked, the stress from pregnancy and, a hormone from pregnancy coinciding and that happening to you. And so having to wear that life vest and, potentially having to be on the heart transplant list, that was so scary. And I was just like, what is my life right now? Why am I
Right.
going through this?
That's a lot.
But yeah, it was a lot. And I was away from cooking for a while and I didn't have that outlet. So I had to really sit down and talk about some of the things that were hidden that I had like tucked away since childhood. or that I hadn't really addressed. Like I could openly say, I am a victim of sexual assault or a victim of rape or, you know, a suicide survivor. I could say those things out loud, but really digging deep until the events that led to it, how I felt after, what I did to cope, I never really talked about or addressed. So it really made me sit down and confront it.
Oh my Lord. And I remember one of the conversations we had after that, that was because that's a lot. That's a lot to deal with. That's a lot to try to, still do life during all of that chaoticness, right? All this stuff just going from left to right. And I remember you said that there was some good news that came from that. How were they able to help you to get through that what it's called, PPCM? Like how were they able to veer you in the direction of no vest or no heart transplant or that side? Like what did they do to aid with that?
I think the best thing that my therapist told me on session 1 was that you needed to start cooking again, and not just for anybody else. She was like, no clients or anything or going back to work, but just for yourself. She said, start with your comfort foods. She was like, the things that brought you comfort or joy, some of your favorite things. And, you know, pasta has always been my favorite thing. And it may not be the best for you, but she was like, just start there for a few meals. Cause I was not eating at all. I was not sleeping. I would drink my calories. So I would probably do water and sweet tea all day long to avoid eating. So she was like, start cooking again for yourself. And really, once I start just making simple meals for myself again and just being able to just sit and eat, it kind of just brought back those feelings of, okay, you can do this. So getting my diet back together, it was the biggest thing that kind of helped with, finding clarity. That's a good word, finding clarity. Because I couldn't work out because I was on certain medications and I couldn't have my heart rate go over a certain level. And it's not necessarily diet related, like maybe other heart diseases are, because it came from pregnancy, but it definitely aided in the way that I was able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I was like, okay, I can eat again. Then I can start sleeping again, which with everybody with a newborn is like, sleep, what's that? But I did find time to take naps again, little bits of sleep. So they helped me with my finding my passion for cooking again. And then they also helped me with just listening to my own body. Could you believe at 30 years old, I didn't know how to listen to my own body. I didn't know how to pay attention to when like my heart be racing, or I didn't know how to pay attention to, what? I don't remember that. Or I'm hurting in such a way. I was so used to the push through that I never truly sat and listened to my body. Like my body saying I'm tired, maybe I should sleep. Like that was never a thing for me. Like my body's like tired. I'm like, well, can I cuss?
Hello, do you know me?
Well, if my body would send the signal that I'm tired, I'm like, bitch, you better wake up. We got work to do. So like I had never listened to my body. And I think that was maybe a product of some of the other traumatic things that happened throughout my childhood, throughout my teen years. So that brought me back to that. It was like, listen to your body. You need to sit and really listen to what's happening to your body. Because if you don't, you're going to die. You could die. And I was just like, say what? Die.
Yeah, we're not going that way. And
Right.
but that's the thing though. So do you feel like fixing your foundation, right? Fixing the mental part, fixing the emotional part kind of helped to, almost repair yourself a little bit from the inside.
Definitely. My body was used to stress. And I think a lot of people are like that. It's like with people with chronic pain, they're so used to the pain that when you go to the doctor or the ER or something, they ask you, what's your pain level on a scale from 1 to 10? And they can sit there, look you in the eye and say a 9 and not flinch because their body has created the baseline that we're used to this. It's not going to spike our heart rate. It's not going to show up on any monitors or tests because we're so used to it, it doesn't matter anymore. And so I was so used to all the not sleeping and the stress and the constant chaos that I didn't know how to recenter. And so when I did, it was kind of like my body's like, oh, finally, this bitch done sat down. We can breathe. We can heal. We can recover. So I had to go through like a personal recovery, not only physically, but mentally, like just starting over, relearning myself, relearning my body, and, kind of redoing my thoughts. And that's still the journey now is, retraining my thoughts.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that part of your life, because I'm pretty sure somebody needed to know that and hear that and know that they're not alone, right? And I'm just so happy to see that you are an overcomer. You're a warrior in that aspect. And now you out here killing it. Like I seen a newness come to you, right? You out here back Chef Curry in these streets, right? And really just Steph Curry with the pot boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I see you. I see you. And I definitely want people to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, right? But you got to take that journey for yourself in order to really be able to find that light. You started your air fryer chronicles, right? Like really, really quick. Like let's just touch on what you're doing right now so that people can find ways to connect with you and get into what you're doing right now.
Oh yeah. So right now, I've gotten into my air fryer gang series because one, I bought a new air fryer after dealing with a small, I think it was like a 4.5 quart air fryer just to kind of check it out. It was like a little $30 something. Like, what's all this air fryer fuss about? And then once I kind of got past the reheating leftover phase and the cooking frozen food so that they taste good phase, it was like, oh, I can actually kind of use this in a way that I was used to convection oven cooking at previous jobs. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. So I started air fryer game because once you put in the air fryer, you can kind of step away a little bit and it's not this whole cleanup that you have to do with your regular oven. And then two, it was just a fun way to kind of make something a little healthier that you don't have to do like a ton of steps to get to. So on my Instagram, I will be sharing more episodes on IGTV, but you can also catch my reels on there for like quick recipes. And then, of course, I have an air fryer hacks book coming out in February.
Yes, air fryer hacks. Girl, I love my air fryer. Like, I remember I had heard this one song, real random, this TikTok dude that did this video about air fryers. And he made this song called Put It in the Air Fryer. And every time I
I
open
heard
the
that.
every time I put something in the air fryer, I'm like, put it in the air fryer.
It's really, it's a huge following, and all the jokes about like, how people with air fryers look at other folks like, yes, I'm truly bougie with my air fryer
I am
because
out here.
I can I can make a whole meal in that thing and then throw away the foil and be done.
The end. And I love it. That's why I love your videos, because it's definitely showing us the diversity in using the air fryer, the things you can do. You can bake a cake, you can make the whole chicken, you can get you some vegetables all grilled up. My Brussels sprouts come out absolutely delightful, okay, out of that air fryer. So I'm super excited about what you got getting ready to drop, this book, these recipes that you sell recipes on your website right now?
So not yet,
Okay.
but they're coming. They're
I'm
coming.
excited about that too. Cause listen, honey, we at home like all I know is garlic powder inside paprika, and people love their lemon pepper. I'm not one of them, but like all people know is just how to put a little dash of this and that. But the miracles you be making happen on 34th Street, okay? Like it is definitely going to be something real good for the people at home, especially since we're adjusting to something different right now. Some people probably ate out all the time or went to restaurants all the time, and although we are still probably ordering food to our house, ain't nothing like being able to just get your groceries there, meal prep for the week or whatever, but make that thing taste like you went to Ruth Chris, okay?
Right. This pandemic has definitely changed a lot of things, how we eat and how we socialize. So I just want to bring a little bit of joy back into your kitchen.
I love it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I don't want to let you go until we let the people know how they can connect with you, and anything that you're about to drop or whatever that you want people to connect to. This is your time to plug it. Let's get it.
So yes, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and wait a minute, and Instagram. Did I say Instagram?
I think so.
YouTube. You can also find me on
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah. You can find me there all under the name Ciara CanCook. I like to keep it consistent, so you can always find me under Ciara CanCook. Be on the lookout for my series on IGTV, Air Fryer Gang. We talk about how to work your air fryer, how to clean it, different types of air fryers, different recipes will be posted on the reels. Also, they'll be posted to Facebook as well, but my IG people will get it first. And then look out for air fryer hacks coming out, my ebook coming out in February.
Air Fryer Gang. Let me stop.
Gang, gang.
Gang. Thank you so much, Ciara, for popping on the scene. We love to have you. And I'm definitely appreciative of having you here. So, ladies, we have come to the end of the road. I was about to sing, but I ain't gonna do that to y'all. So, one of my favorite African proverbs is smooth seas do not make skillful sailors. Okay. And here's a fun fact about me. Growing up in elementary school, I had a lisp. And sometimes that thing still comes out when we hit them S's, boy, I swear. So we're going to try this again. Smooth seas do not make skillful sailors. Okay. So if you think that you're just supposed to go through life and everything's just going to be smooth sailing, how do you expect to master life? How do you expect to master your mindset? How do you expect to just go through life without hitting a couple bumps in the road? You can't even drive down the street forever. Like imagine if you were just driving all day. At some point, you either going to hit a stop sign, you either going to hit a stoplight, you either going to go over some speed bumps. You're going to run into some kind of turbulence, some kind of just a little shift in your daily routine. Let's just call it that, right? You're going to run into something. And if you're not prepared for when those things happen, how do you expect to have the right posture in life and in business? How you do anything is how you do everything. So be prepared by making sure that you are taking care of the foundation that is inside of you. I'm super excited about who we have coming next. And not only that, this episode has definitely fueled me to not only get some real good information, but I heard a story from a woman that knows how to be relentless and knows what it means to have resilience. And if that didn't do something for your posture, baby, you on the wrong podcast. But I'm so excited to meet y'all on the next episode. I know y'all are ready and waiting, and your girl is in the building. So in the meantime, in between time, I'm going to catch y'all next time.
You know it's time.